Welcome, everyone, to our 10th episode of Hunting for Suspenders and Stilettos.
The podcast where we explore the edges of leadership.
In other words, we provide quirky perspectives. And maybe who knows what we're going to talk about, but some things around spring and how it has to do with some kind of leadership.
Indeed. So I'm Sarah, and I'm calling in from Toronto, Canada.
And I'm Anne. I'm calling from Amsterdam, and I'm French.
And today we are going to dive into this topic of leadership and spring. What do they have to do with each other, if anything? So Anne, you actually were the one who came up with this topic idea. So why did this pop into your mind?
Yeah, so initially I was thinking, okay, what should be the theme? And we have been a lot into looking at what are the events throughout the years, actually since the beginning of the year. And I thought that was actually a nice idea. And then when diving more into the topic of spring, I thought, well, if I'm thinking about yesterday, was quite raining a lot, but now today it's very sunny, and I did a walk in the park, and you can see everything is about to open. So there's a lot of things happening in that part of the world in the spring, in this part. Yeah, because actually in the south it's not the same, but spring for us is really much about opening and growth. And I thought about also a few concepts attached to that. For example, growth mindset, and thinking as well of how it is a season where we apply things. We sort of need that energy, push of energy to make things happen. That the things that we have actually planned in the winter, or so, okay, generally we talk about the 1st of January, but the generally the winter is a season where we are more in introspection. We go less out, and so we're more with our families and ourselves, and we have maybe a little bit more time to think, or at least if we follow a little bit more of the rhythm of nature.
The rhythm of nature. Okay. So I'm hearing you really were tapping into the seasons and the rhythms that come with that. And as soon as you talked about that, of course, I was thinking about all of the tulips of the Netherlands.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're reminded of it. That's that's like one of the first things as a Canadian that we think of when we think of, or I do, I should say.
Yeah. Well, actually, fun fact, there is a day here in the Netherlands where you go to the Dam Square, which is the square next to the Royal Palace, where you can get bunches of tulips for free. And so you can see people walking with their bunch of tulips everywhere in the city. So it's kind of nice to see. And there is a famous park as well, the Coconut Park, where it's just like the Disneyland of tulips, and it's very nice to see. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that I'm just picturing all these people walking around with big bunches of tulips, and I don't know how they couldn't have a huge smile on their face as they're doing that. So I think that speaks to sort of the magic of the spring, right? Which is
exactly.
Yeah. So as soon as you suggested it as a topic, I was in because a couple of reasons. The first is that I love just getting inspiration from everywhere in the world, like getting inspiration from all around us. And what better way to draw inspiration than to look outside the window and look at a bunch of tulips? Well, we don't have those yet in Toronto. In fact, we have nasty snowfall this weekend. But what better way to be inspired? And other thing, oh, what?
No. So also maybe one thing I wanted to add on this, it's so I was talking with my neighbor, and she's doing a little bit of a Chinese medicine, and this was quite funny because I was telling her, oh yeah, I'm feeling a little bit tired, and I thought, like for spring, allez, full of energy, and she was explaining as well that, and then it makes sense to me, that it's a moment as well where actually the plants have to push out the flowers, to push out everything, like grow out of the earth. So it's a moment that potentially at some point is requiring a lot of energy. And so it's also something that for me was different. I thought, oh yeah, the sun is back. Well, not always in the Netherlands, but sun is back, and then I'm full of energy. But no, actually there is a lag time as well for that, potentially for some people.
Yeah, and I like what you're reminding us, that growth isn't easy.
No, it is not easy. That's
Growth
true.
is not easy. So it's not just this super miraculous blossom that happens. There's a lot of energy that goes into it. So
Yeah.
spring is a great metaphor. And let's be honest, you and I are both coaches, and coaches love metaphors.
Yes.
I love a metaphor because it's a way in. It's a way in to access new information. So we're going to continue to explore this metaphor together of spring and what does it have to do with us and all of the people tuning in today who are leaders in their work and in their world. How can it kind of inspire us or serve us?
Yeah. And I also think that, when we're talking about growth and this specific period where, you already had your ideas, so if we talk about like being on corporate, for example, leaders from the corporate world, most of the time, you start, writing your objectives extra, and so everybody has cycles, but let's say you have like a calendar cycle, then, you sort of, all your objectives are already written. And then, like a lot of the time, then, maybe after the first trimester, you start looking at that, and seeing where you are against your objectives. And it's time also to sort of reassess and see if things are possible, or what needs to be done to make things possible, so that, actually it's fully blossoming. And like we have the summer peace, so that's a time that is important.
A time to reassess objectives. To look at the growth, harness energy for growth, and reassess objectives. So, Anne, how are you doing any of that in your own life these days?
Because when you were talking about growth, I suddenly thought about my latest experience with singing. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was like
I saw it and I heard it.
Right. But it was really sort of what we call about growth, sort of, at the beginning you have this idea of, oh yeah, I'm gonna sing, and then you're sort of assessing that, okay, this is not good, especially when the teacher is imitating you, that's really bad. And then suddenly, like you're actually in the summer, then you can see, like, okay, I've done the student show, and then it's much better. So I think growth requires a lot of work, and sometimes also can be it can be easy as well. I don't think it has to be hard, but it does require energy.
Yeah. And maybe just briefly to tell the listeners, because maybe not everybody saw your performance, but what you're speaking of in terms of your singing.
Sorry, can you
just
repeat?
To explain that you did this big singing concert and how that.
Oh, this is not a big singing concert. It's just a student show. But no, it was fun to sing a song, a French song, and that was with an audience, and that was really fun to do.
Cool. Well, I guess big or small is in the eye of the beholder, but you stood on a stage and you sang a French song beautifully to an audience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call that big. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is a coach acknowledging another coach. I think that's this kind of moment.
acknowledging a coach. Okay, so I'm hearing in terms of a relationship between spring and using that in your own life, is you have this great example of really growing your skill and your confidence as a singer. And then there you are on the stage, in bloom or
Yeah,
blooming for the audience
yeah,
to see.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah.
do you have an example for you
I
as
do.
well? Yeah,
I
yeah.
do. And my example is actually literal to growing things. I've likely shared with you, Anne,
Yes,
that
it's true.
last
You
year
were
I became a
gardening.
gardener
Yeah.
after years of fear of gardening, just thinking I didn't have a green thumb and I couldn't do it. And so last year I planted the first go of my garden. And then this year I'm going to see, because I planted mostly perennials, I'll see the second year when they're supposed to be even bigger. So the expression is the first year they creep. Oh yeah, the first year they creep, the second year they leap.
Okay.
That. And I'm missing the
So,
third. Pardon any gardeners who know the proper expression. The point is they're supposed to leap this year and I'm supposed to see a lot more. So I'm getting ready for that. And I've got now little packets of seeds and I'm getting the soil and I'm going to put them in the little containers and put them in the windowsill. And then once they're ready, I'm going to put them in the earth. And this is a process that has been done, for centuries by gardeners. And I'm just learning this process now and experiencing it now in my 40s. And it really does fill me with a lot of joy. So it's participating in the growth of spring in a very literal way, but also feels like meaningful metaphorically for me as well.
And so maybe what would be, how could we bring it back to like leaders, and what does it mean? For me, it makes me think of the fact that we always have, like, year after year we refine in the ways that we are doing our objectives, and also where we come back to our objectives to see how to make it better, and to I think in the past we used to do a lot of objectives that were a lot based on results and hardcore results, or on hard skills, and then maybe there is a chance also year after year to bring more of the soft skills piece as well. Maybe this is an idea. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, thanks for bringing it back to, okay, what do growing poppies? What's the relationship between growing poppies in my windowsill and being a leader in the workplace, being a leader in the professional setting? So I love what you're saying. Are there new skills that you want to bring into your set of objectives? Is there something brand new that you want to nurture or grow within yourself? That's one thing. Another thing, and the whole topic of the seasons that makes me think of, is just that some stuff takes time.
Yeah.
And not to be afraid of that year-long process.
Yeah.
Or
it's about resilience, isn't it, as well?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's about resilience as well.
Yeah. It's about resilience, and it's about patience, and it's about a long-term view of what you're creating. It's not just like a quick fix. I mean, for my garden to become what it will and what I dream it to be, it's going to be many years.
Yeah.
Right. So too with professional objectives and huge changes and pivots within an organization. Right.
And so maybe an invitation how to bring more of that, or I think it's actually what we're talking about is what is linked about the strategy as well, when people strategize. Yeah.
Right.
We talked also about growth mindset, and how, because that's also one of the concepts that we talked about. I like I believe that actually to grow all those plans, we need to have a growth mindset, if I can play on words.
Yeah.
And I love this concept of, so just to put it into context, we have, there is, can't remember what was the name of this lady that did that. Do you remember?
Carol. Carol.
Carol Dweck, growth mindset, and so she talks about growth mindset and fixed mindset, and where in growth mindset, failure is an opportunity to grow. Whereas in the fixed mindset, failure is the limit of my abilities. So then, like, so that you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think again about the singing piece, where we're thinking of, like, I have a secret wish to be able to sing Respect from Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin, sorry, I pronounce it in the French way. But so if I'm at the beginning, I think I would have been more in a fixed mindset, thinking, this is impossible, out of reach, and then the more and especially hearing other people singing and how they have chosen to sing some song that I find very difficult. So finding your own way to do it, and also like knowing that you can do it your way, I find that also quite powerful, and it helps also to move forward.
So nice. And I do think that all of the tulips and the poppies and all of the flowers and plants are beautiful reminders and metaphors of doing something new, because literally they're underground, they're hidden as a seed. We can't even see this. And then suddenly they emerge, like they weren't there. And then suddenly they're there, and they're beautiful, and they take our breath away, and we take photos of them and enjoy them and smell them and put them in a vase on our table and love them so much. And so too with, learning to sing a song or create something new that's powerful and meaningful for you in your workplace, in your life.
Yeah. And so if we talk a little bit more about growth mindset as well, we can see, it's about having the willingness to try new things, or versus just sticking to what you know. I think because we can stick to what we know, but the thing is that when we do that, I think we are becoming super expert, and there's absolutely no problem with that in my view. And then when we are confronted with new things, then it will be more difficult for us to do. So if we compare it again to the cycle of spring and all the seasons, like actually the nature is always constantly growing and moving and changing, and still always thinking of how to say that, like what's the next step, and then there is a cycle, but there is a change in that,
like rejuvenation. Like rejuvenation.
Exactly. That's thank you for the word. The word I was missing it. Yeah.
Great.
What do you want to add?
I just want to sort of hone in on this idea of rejuvenation and growth and harnessing the energy of the spring. And as we wrap up, I would love to hear I would love us both to share one idea for like a suggestion or an idea, a seed to plant for the audience in terms of how they can harness the energy of the spring and maybe grow in a way that feels meaningful for them.
So I think to me it's about constantly rechecking where we are. So like, okay, we have objectives or wishes or dreams, how it looks like for each of us, and then constantly reassessing. I think I always come back to this wheel of life, but I'm going to talk about it again, where the wheel of life is, it's actually a tool that I love. It's like a circle with separated with eight parts. Actually, it depends on the version. Where we look at our level of satisfaction for career, health, and many more things. And I find a very good thing that, at maybe every time we have a new season, we can have a look at where we are and compared to our wishes in terms of satisfaction and fulfillment. Yeah, I'm thinking of that. What is top of your mind, Sarah?
Yeah. So I love that idea, what you're saying. I think every season is a great chance. It's like a prompt, right? To look at that and just get curious about how fulfilled we are in the different areas.
Yeah,
Um, and I would say with that is to bring the spirit of patience and observation.
yeah,
Because I think when I think about spring and I think about walking, for example, walking my dog through the ravine, or walking through the park, and then it's slowing down and it's noticing what's happening. It's stopping in my tracks, noticing what's happening to the reeds, to all the different plants that are all around me. Is the snow melting? Is it muddy? What's going on? And that slowing down and noticing piece is gratifying. So the same thing, how can you bring that to your work? How can you bring that to your life? So as you're
yeah,
looking at your wheel, as you're thinking, just like really bringing that, like nature doesn't rush. As I said, it's officially spring. Suddenly we have a dump of snow. Okay. Right. It really takes its time. There's no way for us to rush Mother Nature or force Mother Nature.
yeah.
So how can we bring that same kind of patience and noticing to our own work and our own
Mm.
goals, professional and personal?
Yeah, I would say even after all, we are creatures of Earth, like so. It's great also to be in phase with that sometimes,
We are
we
creatures.
remind ourselves that. Mm,
So I guess that leadership and spring do have something to do with each other.
probably.
There you go.
Great.
Okay, well,
All
thanks
right,
for
then
joining.
we'll see you in a few weeks again. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.